Hi, Fruitful Family. Things are getting interested with Married at First Sight Season 11, Episode 9. So let's get into it. All right, guys, so I just finished watching the episode and I don't know, guys. It's up, it's down, it's all around. So I'm going to do something a little different this time. Normally, I go scene by scene on what happened with the show, but I really want to focus on the couples this time. So without further ado, let's jump into Henry and Christina. We see that last episode, episode 8, Henry walked out. He said he needed some space. And as he was walking down the hall, he said, "I'm done and I don't care." And we were like, well, what's going on with that? So we get to them and Henry is cooking and doing all of this stuff. And he said that Christina hadn't been home all day. And he was like, that's totally understandable. I'm like, what? She ain't been home. I'm telling you, they didn't show the man. First of all, he calling Christina. He has Christina in his phone under Christina, MAFS, which stands for Married at First Sight. For those of you who are not familiar with the show, I'm like, you ain't even got a last name in the phone. It ain't just Christina. It ain't Christina parentheses wife. I mean, she is your wife, Henry. So showed him calling her. She did not answer. Turns out that she had been hanging out with her friends all day. She comes home and says, "Henry, there's something that I need to speak to you about that I haven't been upfront, honest with you about." And I mean, they dragged this on forever. I'm like, what is going on? What ain't you told this man? And turns out that she has been diagnosed with ADD, and for the past month and a half, she says, she has not been on her medication. Turns out that her mother is against her being on medication, and she said that she's realizing that the medication really balances her out. She finds herself confused and all this kind of stuff. She says that she's been embarrassed to talk about it. I'm like, Christina, that's huge. Like, yeah, you should definitely tell someone that you were diagnosed with something like that and on medication for it. So Henry responds with basically like, oh, okay. Well, hopefully you get back on the medication and your mood gets better. Like, I just felt like he was very short, and I wouldn't have approached it that way. She seemed like she was very scared to let him know about that, even to the point where she was like, well, do you still want to continue to get to know me? Do you still want to work on our marriage? And he's like, yeah, I really didn't believe him. I don't know if that yes was real or not. But I mean, that's huge, y'all. That's huge. So she's been having the mood swings and stuff. And you know, she never said that she just got off the medicine cold turkey. But you know, when you are on medication, you are not supposed to just get off your medication like that. Like, there are steps to this thing, especially if it's in your system. There could be some very negative effects to your body just quitting medication cold turkey like that. So I thought it was interesting with him. He decided that, yes, I still want to get to know you. And so we get to see Henry and Christina in a different light. They went golfing, and which supposedly Henry is pretty good at. And I'm telling you, what I thought about Henry in the beginning and what I see now is two different Henrys, honey. Henry got personality for days. He got a clap back in his spirit. He got one-liners. He got punchlines, honey. And obviously, if he's really good at something, his personality comes out. Now, when they went golfing, they seemed like they had a good time. I don't know if they putting on for the show or what. Parts of me do feel like they are just going along to get along. But I would have liked, because she is your wife, and you did say you want to continue to work on y'all's marriage and get to know. When he was teaching her how to golf, he was standing beside her, and yes, I know what you're going to say. Henry doesn't move fast. Okay, don't be on Married at First Sight if you don't want to move fast. It's not like he's consummating his marriage, y'all. But I feel like he could have stood behind her and kind of taught her how to swing. She's looking for that intimacy. She's looking, she wants validation. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with wanting to be validated by your husband. And so then they get to go to salsa lesson, and I'm telling you, I'm just thinking all kinds of thoughts that is wrong about Henry. You hear me? I was like, honey, he's gonna get in here and have two left feet. Henry was keeping up. Do you hear me? It was a salsa class, and even when it was his turn to take the lead, Henry did. I said, okay, so you are capable of taking the lead. I'm gonna need for you to do that in your marriage, bruh. I'm going to need for you to do it in your marriage. So I think that it's interesting with them. I'm glad that they were able to kind of come to some type of resolve after, the issues that they've had. I feel like, Henry was able to lead in the salsa dancing. He was able to lead by teaching Christina golf. I think Christina joined that. Do I think it's enough? No, I don't. But, only time will tell. We shall see. So let's move on to Amelia and Bennett, which, everybody seems to love them because all is going well with them. They are so quirky. They are so unique. They are so strange. They seem perfect for each other, right? So, honey, come here. Because, you don't want people's business. You don't want to be yelling people's business out in the street, right? But come here. Amelia and Bennett, they consummated their marriage. Child, yes, that's what they said. That's what they said out of their own mouth, honey. So there has been consummating taking place. Come on now. Come on. Hallelujah. So it shows Amelia and Bennett, they waking up, and turns out that her friend spent the night there because her and her friend had been working on a special day for Bennett. And they made him this crazy looking cake that looks like a face with like cotton candy hair. Absolutely hilarious. And yeah, they just planned this special day. Amelia plans a special day for him going, what is it called? It's not tightrope. It's slide. Y'all know what I'm talking about. The same thing she was doing in the beginning of the season. She tying string to two trees and then walking on the string, but it's low to the ground. She was trying to teach it, not Henry Lord. She was trying to teach Bennett how to do it. Bennett, he gonna need a little bit more practice, y'all. But it was so cute. It was a little picnic. There was a piñata, there was a cake, and honey, Bennett beat the brakes off of that piñata. Do you hear me? It was a butterfly piñata, and then he ripped the wings off the piñata, then he swung and detached the body from the head on the butterfly, and then he just beating the ground, thinking that he beating eating the butterfly. He ain't even touched the butterfly. I said, where is your appreciation and love for inanimate objects now, Bennett? You over here beating that Pope Pinata. Lord have mercy. But it was fun. What I did like, is that the experts sent cards, to discuss love and intimacy and things so they could take their conversations deeper. And I guess they were eating a fertile roll, the sushi roll that they were enjoying for lunch. And they were kind of talking about love. And Bennett said that he definitely loves Amelia. He's just not in love with her yet. And I was like, ooh, for you to say that you even love her, even though you're not in love, you're very close. And, they just seem very smitten with one another. I hope that the success continues. First of all, let me tell you, Amelia's friends spending the night, there must be some love and trust there, because that ain't too much happening over at my crib, unless you just my sister. You hear me? Okay, so who else y'all want to talk about? Let's talk about Olivia and Brett. So, they were up last week, back down, up. But the whole time, Olivia's literally been complaining about Brett's not on the same page. She continues to talk about the finances, how he wants to put his extra money into his house. She wants to put her extra money into trips. I don't understand why a compromise can't take place. I still don't get that. I still don't get why two things can't be true. I don't understand why, if there's two incomes, that money can't be put towards a home and also put towards living life. They're really confusing me. And, Brett's sarcasm is starting not to be clever or funny anymore. And then Olivia's sass and downright attitude is definitely, not the best either. So one thing that stood out to me is that when the experts gave them the card talking about love, Olivia was talking about, I think love is just a feeling. It's a passion. And that's why many relationships fail, because it is a common misconception that love is a feeling. It's just simply not true. Love is an action. Love is a verb. It is definitely not a feeling. It is definitely not an emotion. And most people who feel that way usually don't end up staying in long-term relationships. And I just feel that to be the case. But while they were trying to talk about it, Brett was very sarcastic. He had a lot of humor in it. And not that I have any reason to be upset with him making light, or bringing a sense of humor to the conversation. But I feel like sense of humor is inappropriate if you have not clearly expressed your thoughts and where you are in a relationship. Express that first, and then after that has been properly expressed, then add in the humor. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. So it really frustrated Olivia. You could see the eye rolls. You could see her staring off into space. I really feel that Olivia has checked out. Even to the point where they were discussing something and she was just expressing her thoughts. And he said, that is the opposite of all the good advice that I've ever heard. He has no tact, but Olivia also has shut down, and she do nothing but complain about the fact that she believes he's a cheapskate. So, then they went to the, alligator reservoir, and honey, they looking at the alligators. They went on the little ride in the swamp to look at the alligators. First of all, I'm from Louisiana. I have absolutely, positively no desire to go look at no alligators. None. Eat one deep fried? Maybe. Go look at them and get next to live ones? No. None. Anyway, but you could tell, Comment below and tell me, because I'm actually going to put your comments down and I'm going to read your comments. I'm going to go live and read your comments and see what you guys have to say, because I feel what you have to say is important also. I didn't see a smile on her face. She didn't seem like she was enjoying him. Brett then put his arm around her, was grabbing her arm, and she was like, can we please just get this over with? I mean, that was literally the look on her face. I don't know if it was edited that way or not, but she just looked like she is over it. And she is just waiting for them 8 weeks to come. Like, let's go ahead and get these 8 weeks done, and let's go ahead and call it a wrap. I hope that they can come to some type of resolve. I hope that she can break the sass, and I hope that he can break the sarcasm. Okay? So who else do we want to talk about? Let's talk about Woody and Amani. Honey. So, they've just been having a splendid time, right? Everything's just been so good. And honey, they sitting down, enjoying each other's company. And Woody is just giving her compliment after compliment. I love who you are. I love, what you bring to the marriage. You are a great wife. You bring the best out of me. I'm just ready to spill all my feelings. And I can tell you that I love you. And she was like, you got love for me or you in love with me? And he said, both. I got love for you and I'm in love with you. And you know what Amani said? Amani said, I can definitely say that I'm not in love with you. And I'm stopping myself because I've been hurt. Honey! Oh, all of Woody's feelings you could just see it. He felt some type of way about that thing, y'all. He felt some type of way about that thing. And you know what? I'm not saying that she has to lie. I don't want anybody to be saying that they are in love with somebody when they're not. But two things. This is a public platform still. Please don't crush his ego on a public platform. The way that you say that, could have been told. I mean, if you do have deep feelings for him, but you're not in love yet. I mean, I love how Jessica and Austin did it in season 10. They said, I'm growing in love. Jessica knew that she was in love with him, immediately. But Austin, because of his past and what he had experienced, he, thought that he wouldn't be able to say that he loved her, not only within the 8 weeks, but he didn't feel like even within a year he could say that he loved her. Turns out not to be true, because on the finale, he said that. But what I'm saying is that he didn't just say, I don't love you. He said, I'm growing in love. She could have spun that a little bit differently. But, Amani is direct. And Woody said he liked that, honey. My husband said like this: what you think is cute in the beginning will get on your nerves. But yes, he was just like, and Amani just let all the wind out of his little balloon. But I do like the fact that she did come back, and she did come back and she cooked him a nice dinner, and did express that she does care for him. So so let's talk about Olivia and Amani meeting up. They also went to like an alligator reservation. What is up with y'all and alligators? I don't even get that. But they were talking, and Olivia was just explaining to Amani that she's over it. I mean, I feel like we all can clearly see that. She says that they're just in two different places. And it seems like Olivia is frustrated because she doesn't know where there can be a balance or a compromise at. And I'm like, you can also cut some sass. It does take two to compromise, right? Anyway, let's get to our final couple. I think that's our final couple. Let's talk about Miles and Karen. Honey. Woo. Ah. You. So I'll start with the experts sending them the card, talking about love and all of that. And, Karen is bringing the fluff. I confidently trust that I can come to you with my feelings. It's fluff, y'all. Karen ain't into them. I'm going to continue to say that until something happens that says otherwise. And I would love to be proved wrong. But, she keeps saying, it's still early. I need more time. I have a hard time expressing my feelings and all of this kind of stuff. Again, don't go at an accelerated pace if you have trust issues and want to take things slow, right? Right. So, Miles is still saying, hey, I still need the communication. I still need the affection. But here's the kicker. Here's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about Karen and Miles at the grocery store. Now, they're having a good time. They go to the grocery store. Karen even allows Miles to pick what he wants to eat for dinner. And, she's showing him how to pick up produce and pick out, different foods. And then they start talking about emotions and feelings. And, he's like, Karen, you have a hard time expressing your feelings, but I don't. And she was like, well, why do you not have an issue expressing your feelings? And talks about, wanting a masculine man. A very masculine man. And I hate the fact that she keeps on correlating masculinity to, being able to share emotions. Because, men hear stuff like that. It's already hard for a man to express himself. Especially, I won't even go there. Y'all already know. So, they're at the grocery store. And Miles... he was pushing a little bit. I really didn't appreciate. I felt like it was very immature. And I know that he was just playing. But, sometimes you need to check the temperature before you start playing, right? So they get home and the groceries are in. They're putting stuff up. And, Miles is joking about, well, this is a date, right? I drove you there, I opened the door for you. First of all, chivalry shouldn't just be for a date. If you're married, chivalry should be your lifestyle, and that's on period. But then he was like, and then I'm the one who bought the groceries and brought the groceries in. I paid for the date. So it was like a date. Karen's like, no. But, they were playing. They were making light. And then Miles kind of turned it and went into intimacy, which I understand. You do want to speak on intimacy. You do want to know things. They are approaching 3 weeks. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with a conversation about intimacy. I don't think that it has to actually lead to intimacy. But yes, this is your husband. This is your wife. We should be able to talk about those things. But what I didn't like is, he kept on asking questions that Karen was not ready to answer. She's like, I'm just not ready to talk about it. I'm not there yet. And then instead of just leaving it there, which, I understand if you're frustrated, but then he got up and said, well, you not addressing intimacy for this amount of time is not acceptable. I'm going to put a date on the calendar. And yes, he was making light of it, but you joke about things that you're serious about. And she really, Karen was already looking for a reason to shut down because she's not attracted to Miles and she really doesn't want him, and she was trying at least, but Miles gave her a reason to shut it on down, honey. And that's kind of how the show ended. She was upset. She was not okay with him trying to put a calendar down, for intimacy. She felt like that was unnecessary pressure. I do agree. And it showed a clip of her saying that she doesn't know if they can recover from this. You just give her ammo. Her heart already wasn't in it. She just needed a reason to continue not to put her heart in it, but not look like the bad guy. You gave her reason, right? And then she went on to say that she felt unsafe. That's stretching it. That's stretching it. Unsafe. So tell me what y'all think about that, guys. Let me know what you think. Do you think that Karen has a point? Do you feel that Mouse has a point? Do you feel they both have a point? I'd like to hear. Tell me what you think about the couples. What about Woody and Amani? Do you think, Woody should just suck it up, because Amani doesn't feel the same way? I really believe that she does feel the same way. I just feel like she's having a hard time being vulnerable. But I'm like, how much more vulnerable can you get having intimacy with no type of protection, though? But maybe that's just me. I don't know. Look. Anyway, I thank you guys so much for joining me for Married at First Sight, Season 11, Episode 9. I will be coming to you with a little bit more detail on all of this stuff, so look out for those videos. That's why you need to subscribe to this channel, and please hit the notification bell. Please hit the subscribe button. I would love for you to be a part of the Fruitful family. Until next time, be fruitful and multiply. Bye.